Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we are diving into one of the most shocking developments of the entire conflict. An event that has not only rattled Russia, but sent tremors across the entire global stage. The Crimea Bridge, the symbol of Kremlin power, prestige, and control, has collapsed once again after another devastating strike. This time, the destruction is so severe, so dramatic, and so unexpected that even Russian state media is struggling to hide the reality. What happened last night has completely changed the momentum of the war, the psychology of Putin's government, and the future of Crimea itself. For months, the world was told that the Crimea Bridge was secure. Russia claimed it had layered air defenses, elite radar systems, and constant surveillance. They said nothing could hit it again, not missiles, not drones, not sabotage. But as the world woke up today, the images and reports coming out of Crimea show a completely different story. A massive explosion ripped through the heart of the bridge, sending sections of the roadway crashing into the waters below. Fire lit up the night sky, pillars were shattered, and the shockwave was felt across kilometers. Once again, Russia is left embarrassed on the world stage, and Ukraine has delivered a message louder than any speech, any statement, or any threat. Crimea is not safe under Russian control. This latest attack was not just another strike. The precision, timing, and method show that this was a carefully planned, deeply coordinated operation that bypassed Russian defenses like they didn't even exist. Analysts are already calling it the most humiliating moment for the Kremlin since the war began. Why? Because this bridge was not just infrastructure. It was the pride of Russia, the symbol Putin personally inaugurated, the link connecting mainland Russia to occupied Crimea, and the foundation of the entire Russian military supply chain in South. And once again, that symbol has been shattered. The panic inside Russia is unbelievable. Videos from the scene show emergency crews scrambling through flames and broken metal. Russian military vehicles are stuck for miles, unable to move supplies, ammunition, or reinforcements. The Kremlin immediately declared a state of emergency, but even that didn't stop the chaos. The moment the bridge went down, Russian logistics collapsed. Fuel convoys had to be rerouted hundreds of kilometers. Armored vehicles were forced to take long detours. And the soldiers waiting at the front lines in southern Ukraine were left stranded with no supplies coming in. But the important question is, how did Ukraine pull this off? Russia has spent billions on defending the bridge. They installed electronic warfare systems, anti-drone jammers, missile defense batteries, radar towers, and patrol boats. Yet the strike not only got through, it obliterated the structure more severely than previous attacks. Experts believe Ukraine used a combination of long-range precision missiles and special maritime drones designed to detonate at the exact weak points of the bridge. This wasn't just an attack. It was engineering-level warfare designed to tear the bridge apart right from its foundation. And the timing could not have been worse for Russia. In the last few weeks, Moscow has been desperately trying to convince the world that the situation in Crimea is stable, that their forces are in control, and that no Ukrainian operation can reach that far. But this single attack has exposed the entire truth. Crimea is vulnerable. Russia's defenses are failing. And every promise Putin made about security has collapsed just like the bridge itself. Inside the Kremlin, panic is spreading. Reports from insiders say Putin held an emergency midnight meeting with top military commanders, demanding answers. He reportedly shouted that the air defense teams failed, the Navy failed, and the intelligence agencies failed. No one could explain how such a large-scale attack reached one of the most heavily protected structures in Russia's territory. This embarrassment is going to haunt the Kremlin for years. For Ukraine, this attack is more than just a strategic move. It's psychological warfare. It tells Russian soldiers that they can never relax, that no place is safe, and that even the most secure infrastructure can be destroyed anytime. It tells Putin that his control over Crimea is slipping, and it tells the world that Ukraine is capable of long-range, high-precision strikes that can reshape the entire map of the war. The effects are already visible. Russian social media is filled with panic, anger, and confusion. Thousands of Crimean residents are lining up at gas stations, fearing shortages. Roads are blocked with civilians trying to evacuate. Russian military bloggers, usually loud with propaganda, are now silent, shocked, or openly criticizing the government. Some are even calling this the beginning of the end for Russian control in Crimea. Even more dramatic is the reaction of the Russian elite. Sources claim that several high-ranking officials are furious that Putin ignored warnings about the vulnerability of the bridge. They reportedly urged the Kremlin to strengthen security months ago, but the advice was brushed aside. Now those same elites are openly questioning the leadership, and cracks are beginning to appear among Putin's inner circle. And then there's the global reaction. NATO officials have called the attack a turning point. International media is treating this as one of the most significant events of the year. Financial markets reacted instantly. Russian stocks dropped sharply within hours. Meanwhile, Ukraine's allies privately see this as proof that the country can push deeper into Crimea in the future. But what makes this moment truly historic is what it means for the future of Crimea. Every time the bridge is hit, Russia's grip on the peninsula weakens. Every strike cuts supply chains, damages morale, and shakes confidence. And now, with such catastrophic destruction, many analysts believe Crimea has become the biggest liability for Russia, not an asset. Ukraine has made its message clear. The war will not end until Crimea is free. And if Russia cannot even protect its most important bridge, how will it protect its military bases, command centers, and supply depots across the peninsula? The pressure is mounting, and this attack may be the spark that triggers a larger shift in the war's direction. Even Russian soldiers on the front lines are reacting with shock. Many of them relied on the bridge for ammunition and fuel. Now they are stuck, undersupplied, and uncertain about what comes next. Some are recording videos expressing frustration with their commanders. Others fear that Ukraine will launch even more strikes on Crimea. The sense of insecurity is spreading like wildfire. Meanwhile, Ukrainian morale is skyrocketing. This attack is being celebrated across the country as proof that Russia's so-called invincible infrastructure is not invincible at all. Ukrainian soldiers say they stand ready to push further, believing that Crimea is no longer a distant dream but a real possibility. As the hours pass, new details continue to emerge. Satellite images show multiple sections of the bridge collapsed. Burn marks stretch across the asphalt. Large chunks of debris remain scattered in the water. Repair crews are overwhelmed, and experts say restoring the bridge to full function could take months or even longer. The Kremlin may try to rebuild it again, but the truth is simple. Every time they rebuild, Ukraine will strike again. The bridge has become a target, a symbol, and a weakness. And with each attack, Russia's position in Crimea becomes more unstable. This story is far from over. In fact, many analysts believe the next days will be even more dramatic. Russia may attempt retaliation. Ukraine may launch new operations, but one thing is clear. The collapse of the Crimea Bridge has changed everything. The war has entered a new phase, a phase where Russia is on the defensive, scrambling to control chaos, and Ukraine is proving its reach, its strategy, and its determination. And as we continue monitoring this rapidly unfolding situation, one thing becomes undeniable. The collapse of the Crimea Bridge isn't just an explosion, it's a message. A message that echoes across Russia, across Ukraine, and across the world. A message that the balance of power is shifting and nothing will ever be the same again.